section turns out to be true. I was trying to think of a couple, and here's two standard examples. Save money by spending it, or this is the beginning of the end. Living a life of faith requires a certain level of comfort with paradox. According to our faith, human life is filled with suffering, which will somehow be redeemed by God in the afterlife, if not in this one. Our human minds go out of their way trying to resolve paradoxes, subtracting and conflicting messages in order to give us something that makes logical sense. This is why so many of us, of the most interesting questions of our faith tend to be reduced to simplistic either-or options. Do you believe in God? Yes or no? Do you believe in Jesus' crucifixion and resurrection? Yes or no? Either you are a person of faith and you are expected to take everything from the Bible literally, or you are a doubting Thomas, and you might not make it to heaven. All too often, these are the shallow questions and the shallow answers we hear in our churches. All because our human mind find it taxing to hold two contradictory ideas in tension with one another. This kind of simplistic Christian theology might be described as shallow. It isn't wrong necessarily, but it lacks depth, complexity, and nuance. This leads to a lot of statements that none of us find comforting when we are suffering. And all of us have heard these. God has a plan. Everything happens for a reason. Or you're in a better place. All of these statements may be true and faithful, but they do not leave a lot of room for the questions, the discomfort, and the struggle that we all encounter during times of trial. Or maybe some of us dismiss the idea of God entirely because the very notion of suffering doesn't make logical sense when thinking of an all-powerful God of law. But if we let our eyes be drawn to the third image of this picture, we find a deeper conversation, a more complex imitation of faith. The artist of this window has incorporated a palm branch tied and crossed and crowned together. This image invokes another story, Jesus' victorious parade into Jerusalem. This is the object of a story that brings the needed depth and complexity for the paradox of faith to make sense. The story goes like this. Conquering warriors like Alexander the Great had ridden into the city of Jerusalem on horse-drawn chariots, and they expected the people they conquered to greet them with parades of palm branches, which would spread on the ground in front of them, paving their way to the center of the city. Then there came a day when a penniless, temperate rabbi named Jesus of Nazareth came to Jerusalem on the back of a loaded donkey, and without instructing anyone to do so, the crowd with palm branches and the cloaks from their back on the ground in front of them yelling, "Hosanna, help us, Prince of Peace." Ever since that day, the palm branch has been associated with God's victory over the world. A victory won not by violence, but with peace. By inserting the palm branch into this classic cross and crown image, the creator of this window seems to communicate a third word from God, relationship. The nature of God doesn't change with our doctrines about God. And regardless of what we may or may not believe, we have no control over what happens to us in life or death. This is why our tradition, the United Church of Christ, is not held together by doctrine and belief, but through the gift of covenant relationship. If we focus too trauma come across the ground, it's easy to convince ourselves that we have all the right answers and everything will be fine again. The conference reminds us that God does not offer answers, but always invites us into relationship. Conversation, complexity, growth, life, love. These are the resources we use to get to know God better. And these are the ways we allow God to know us. Just as our relationships with one another are not easily defined by our titles or our roles, but they are revealed in the ways we journey together, work together, and live together. Love can be love only if it is given and freely received. God's victory is not ultimately achieved through coercion or violence, but with peace, mercy, and forgiveness. So when we gaze upon this window, be reminded that God's created word is not meant for winning arguments. It's not a password to get into heaven. It is not confined to a particular school of thought. God's word sings out through time and space, always calling us to participate in God's ongoing project of creation. God alone can resolve our suffering and transform it into glory, always through creative, peaceful means. May we learn to do the same. Thank you for the words that Brian shared with us this morning. As we leave this church this morning, and as we leave the same God and Lord, I say to you, may God's word inspire you. May God's love embrace you. May God's light guide you and keep you as you go forward from this place. To love and be loved, to be blessed and be blessed. Go in peace and life. Amen.